Hey everybody, Patty Ann here. Welcome back to day, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of our 7 days of SVGs. Let's look up at my screen and let's just review what we've already done in case you haven't been here with us and you want to go back and grab up some of these free lessons. So check it out. The first day we did Harry Potter. We did Gryffindor. All totally just black vinyl. Second day we did Baby Piglet. The third day we did Jasmine. The fourth day was Baby Yoda. And I even showed putting an offset on him. The fifth day was Poppy Troll. And today is Rolly from Puppy Dog Pals. So here we are ready to get started. But before I do, I thought I would show you how I'm going to set up my page. In case you're using a Cameo and you want to see what this means to set up your page. So you just come up here to the top right where there's a picture of a page. It's the page setup area. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm actually going to cut this out of cardstock and glue it together to show you the final version. So I'm going to change my media size, and that's the size of the paper or the cardstock that I'm using. I'm going to change it to 8.5 by 11 because that's the size of the cardstock that I have over there. So change that to 8.5 by 11. And right now it's on landscape mode. I want to change it to this one, portrait, I guess that's called, right? Just like that. And I think I'll turn on the cut border so I know where I can cut to. All right, but not to worry about that much. That'll come into play later. So right now what I'm going to do, and I think I'll just uncheck that for now. As you know, the first thing we have to do when we're making an SVG is to simply come over here to the panels way over here on the side, go to the one that looks like a piece of toast or a butterfly, and it says Trace Panel when you hover over it. Click on that, and that opens up the Trace Panel for you. Once you've opened that up, you're just going to click right here where it says Select the Trace Area. And what that's going to allow you to do is to move over to your image and draw a box around the part of the image, in this case the whole image, that I want to change into an SVG. So watch. I'm going to click on Select Trace Area. Then I'm going to come over here and just holding down my mouse button, going to draw a box the whole way around Rolly. Like that. Alright, now this is the way it comes in automatically. Normally the threshold right here comes in at 45%. And you may be thinking, Patty Ann, that's a beautiful trace. And it does look sort of nice, except for I'm going to show you something. When I back that threshold up, instead of it being 45%, I change it to a lower percentage. I want you to see what's happening. Now look at that. Okay, look at his eyes right now. And when I go down lower in percentage, look, more details showed up. If I continue going down, check out his muzzle or his nose. Keep watching it and you'll see. Look at that, his collar came in better with more details. There we go. Look at that now. Look at all these details we get. This is exactly what we want. So instead of my threshold actually being at 45%, I've made it go all the way down to 21%. And this is what I want. I will scroll in using the magnifying bug, I call it, and make sure that my lines all look like they're connected. And they actually look really, really good. So I'm going to scroll back out and just say trace. So what that allows me to do is get rid of this square, but I'm going to keep it for right now because I'm going to use my eyedropper tool to grab the exact colors I need, but I will get rid of it before I'm finished. Okay, and here is my final guy. So as you know, the very first thing I recommend that you do is just highlight him by clicking on him, coming up here to the paint palette area where those cross hatches are, and change it to a color that you know you're not going to use in Rolly. So I'm not going to use purple. I oftentimes use purple. So that's that. The next thing is, you know, that we have to do is we're going to go to Object, Release Compound Path, and here's why. Right now, if I try to click on any part of Rolly, to color him, say like his red collar, I cannot just grab his red collar. It grabs all of him. So when I come up here to Object, release the compound path, that puts selection boxes around every little single piece that makes up Raleigh. And now I'll be able to select things individually to color them the color I want them to be, whether it be cardstock or vinyl. So I clicked off so not all of him is selected, and I'll just start with his collar. I'm going to click on his collar, come up here to the color swatch area, get the eyedropper, and I'm going to get the exact color of red that they've used here. Perfect, just like that. So now I think I'll do the little dog bone. I'll click on that, come up here to the color swatch area, change its color by getting the eyedropper. Of course, I could make it any color I want to, but since I'm trying to make it exactly the same, I get the eyedropper. And remember, as I've said in the past, when you roll the eyedropper over things, it kind of sucks up the color that you're over. So watch, right now the little square attached to my eyedropper is white, because I'm over white. If I go over the brown color, it changes to brown. The blue, it changes to blue. And I want this little yellowy color. So that's going to suck up the yellow color. Boop. So it makes the color right here in the color swatch area. And additionally, it puts it here into the part of the image that I had selected. So now let's see. I think I'll select the blue of his eye. But I'm going to do both at the same time. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key, come over here and get the other iris. So I have both of them selected. Now come up to the color swatch, get the eyedropper, and click on the blue. There you go, just like that. Now do the white. Here, this is white. Hold down the Shift, get this white. And if I wanted to, I could even go down here and get his teeth, but I think I'll scroll in first to get those. So I'm just going to come up here and get white. Good. Oh, I could have gotten these two little dots too. Click on that one, hold down my Shift key and get this one, and change them to white as well. Now remember, the very last color that I used is the one up here in the uppermost left-hand corner. So I'm going to scroll in using that tool that I think looks like a magnifying a bug, and I can see his teeth easily and make sure I just click on teeth. So I'm going to click on this one, hold down my Shift key, this one, this one. So I'm clicking right in the middle of them to grab them. Once I have them all selected, I'll come up here again to the color swatch area and change them to white. Let's scroll out and look how it looks. It's looking pretty darn good, right? Let's see, I can change his ear colors if I want to. Grab this one, hold down my Shift key and get this one, and then come up here to the color swatch area, magnifying glass, the eyedropper, and get that. Okay, notice right here there's like a pinky color here. Looks like the same color for his tongue and the other ear over here. So I'll select all three of those pieces at once by clicking on one of them, hold down my Shift key, get the other one, still holding down my Shift key, I'll get his tongue. And now come up here to the color swatch, get the eyedropper, grab that color. Great. Okay, I might as well get the big part of him, his face. Come up here, get the eyedropper, grab it. His body. Let me see if, I wonder if his tail's the same color. I'm not sure, so I'll go back and look at that in a sec. Get the eyedropper, get his body. I'm going to scroll over so I can see now. Okay, so his tail and all of these pieces are exactly the same color. So let me grab his foot, or his leg and his foot. Grab these toes here and here. And I hope I can get this one there. And his tail. And just come up here. And it was the last color that I used, so it's this one. Perfect. All right, now his muzzle. Grab that. Come up here. I know it's this color, but just in case I'm not sure, I can get the eyedropper again and click. Okay, he is looking really good. Let's see, the next thing that I think I will do is this. I want to see what I have to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go way out here. See if I can. There we go. Way out about the outside part. You see that? I want to make sure not just his ear, but I wanted to make sure I had the whole outer part of him like that selected. And I'm going to change that instead of it, and let's bring it out. Let's check it out and see. It's this piece right here. Instead of it being that purple color, I'm going to have it be black because that's what I'm going to build. That's my base. So I can stick it back in there now. So look how that makes all of those pieces have perfect little lines in them. Let's use the arrow key if I want to a little bit to move this around a touch. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to make the eyeballs of him black and these other pieces black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that, hold down my shift key, the outer edges. Oh, look here. I thought I had the purple part selected, but I've got white selected. Look up here. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to get, there we go. I wanted to get this purple color selected. Okay, and once I had that purple part selected, I wanted to hold down my shift key, select his face, and then come over here again to the modify panel if it's not open. Click on that and say subtract. And notice how that lets all of the black pieces be shown. And do you see why? Because it cuts them right out of stuff. So let's see. The next thing that I want to do is I want to do his eyes. So this part of his eye, I'm going to click on that to select it, and you can tell I have the purple selected here. I'm going to hold down my shift key and grab the blue and then say subtract, and that got it, subtracted it right out. Now I'm going to do this purple. Hold down my shift, get the blue, and subtract. So that looks really, really good. There's only two things left we have to do, and those are his whiskers and the bone. So to get his whiskers, I'm going to scroll way in, and I'm just going to start selecting these and hold down my shift key. Select all of these whiskers first. After I have all of those selected, I'm going to, while I'm still holding down my shift key, select the brown, and then say subtract. And I need to do that on the bone as well. Select the purple part, hold down my shift key, get the red part, and subtract. Perfect. Let me show you what that did to his muzzle. You see how this brown piece is going to cut out? And instead of having to take little teeny weeny pieces of black and glue them on here, they've cut it out of the black, or it's going to be cut out of the brown, which allows the black backing to show through. Scroll out and see how we're doing. Okay, to me, he looks perfect. So I'm going to get rid of this one so I don't forget. And remember one time I told you that sometimes you can see these red lines. They're just what's made in this software, and they just mean cut lines. For this software, if you're using it in a Cameo, you can get rid of those by just highlighting all of this and just coming up here to where the line color is. And you can, this is a fill color, this is the line color. You can change it to transparent if you like, right here. And then those lines don't show up at all, just like that. All right, as you've been learning in lessons 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, the next thing that we do, and this helps us especially if we're using vinyl, and especially if you're using Cricut Design Space, you want to come up here to where the paint palette is and where it says select by color, and click on that. Then you're going to come over here to where it says by fill, and these are all the colors that make up Raleigh the puppy. So we'll start at the first one. That's going to select everything that's a red color. We can come up here to Object, Make a Compound Path. Now, you may notice that Make a Compound Path is grayed out, which means it's not available to me. And the reason it's not available to me right here is because there is only one piece that's that red color. It's already one thing. So I can move it over. So I'll go to this color next. Okay, there we go. So it's selected all those pieces that make up Raleigh. I can go to Object, Make a Compound Path, drag them over. Perfect. Okay, now I can get his ears and his muzzle Object, make a compound path. And the next thing is the bone. I won't be able to make that a compound path because it's only one thing. Let's check. Object. Nope, can't do it. It's grayed out. It's already a compound path. It's already a one thing. Okay, let's see the black. It's the black object. I shouldn't be able to, oh, I can make that a compound path. Let's see. Okay. And the pink, we can just right click and say make compound path 2. That's another way you can do it. Okay, let's see, where are we? The white, I can just right click and say make a compound path. Or okay, let me just grab that white again and make it a compound path. Here we go. Look at his little teeth. And the blue. And right click, make compound path, and bring it over here. So that's it. There shouldn't be anything else left on here. If I go like this, sometimes I like to draw a box, make sure there's no little straggly pieces left. So he's ready to go just like this. Let's bring him back over. And we could actually group him. And again, to make him in Cameo, you just go to Send. Rather than being simple or line, you would do it by fill color. I would uncheck everything here. And I'm going to do this out of cardstock, so I would leave it like this, and I would change it to cut. All of these things would be filled in automatically now if my machine were turned on. Like right now it says no tool is detected. It's because my machine's not on. If it were, it would know I had the auto blade in there. And it would cut the red. Just this. And you can see it's kind of highlighted around it. I can ungroup it now. And you can kind of see that there's a highlight around it. Let me show you. I'll scroll in. See, there's a little bit of a highlight. If I uncheck that, watch the difference. See how the highlight went away? There it is. Gone. All right. So after I cut that, then I always just move it off to the side. Then I would do the next thing. And that happens to be his whole body. So I just want to, don't really need to move these pieces too much because they're not going to cut unless I have them checked. Which I better make sure that I uncheck this one. So I'm ready just to cut this, and I go ahead and cut it. After it's done, I would continue on. So now let me show you how I would do this in Cricut Design Space. Okay, I've got Raleigh all put back together. I'm simply going to group him. Right click after I select it all and group. Then I'm going to come up here to File. And right now I actually already do have this open in the Business Edition. As you know, if I had the Standard Edition, which is the free edition, I would not be able to save this as an SVG. I could still save it as a studio, as a silhouette file, and use it at some point should I decide to get the Business Edition for my Cricut, or I could use it for my Cameo just as it is. For Cricut, you got to get the Business Edition, that one-time fee. But anyway, I already have it open in the Business Edition, so I would grab this and come up here to File, Save Selection, Save to Hard Drive, and Raleigh Puppy Dog Pals. It's already been saved as a silhouette file. I want to save it as an SVG for my Cricut, and this is available to me since I own the Business Edition. So I can do like that. Then I'll just say OK. I'm going to open up Cricut Design Space and go to Upload. These are the ones we've been working on this past week, right? Upload an image, Browse, and I'm going to browse to Raleigh Puppy Dog Pals, and I want to make sure that I get the one that's the SVG. If I scroll over this one, notice it says it's a silhouette document. I can save it like that. And when I do get a Cameo, I could, or the Silhouette Business Edition, I could fix it. But for right now, I cannot use this in my Cricut. But I can also save it now as an SVG since I do have the business edition. So I can click on this and say open. And there's Raleigh just like that. Say save. Okay, someone had asked me a question. Let's just peek back for a sec at Silhouette. Let's say that we wanted Raleigh to be the exact same size that we made him here. Here's how I handle this. I want you to notice the width of him. It's 7.102 inches, and you can even see it up here. 7.102. So what I usually do if I'm trying to save something, especially if I'm doing rhinestones, which you can make rhinestone designs in this and use them in Cricut. But what I usually do if I'm designing in this software and taking it to Cricut is this. I'll select it and I'll go File, Save Selection, Save to Hard Drive. Now, the first thing I'm going to put in the name of what I'm saving is the width of my product. So in other words, I would name this, okay, the first thing I would put in the name so I could see it easily would be 7.102, 7.102. And I always use the inches and I always use the width, okay? So I would save it like that, and then I would save this as an SVG and say OK. So here's the difference. I'm going to go back over to Cricut Design Space, insert him. That's the first one I did. He'll come in at, look how wide he is, 2.505 inches wide. But remember I said I wanted him to be the exact size. Uh-oh, something didn't turn out right over here. Look at this. Look at all these pieces. I've done something wrong. So let me go back to Silhouette and see just what have I done wrong here. I'm going to double check and see. I might have done too many undos, and I got back to before I made them all paths. Compound paths. Let's see. Oh yes, I did. See that? I need to make these guys compound paths again. So let me show you. This is a good learning experience. Peek back at Cricut. I accidentally, when I was undoing, went back too many times to past where I had made all these pieces compound paths. So look, I want to show you what that does. It makes every little piece over here an individual piece. And every little thing is its own little piece. Look at all these layers I have. And I want to show you what's going to happen if I make it with it just like this. See how his teeth are in nice order now and just where I need them? Let me go to make it and let's look at the white. Oh, look at this. This would be a nightmare to try to do in vinyl, right? So that's because I had made a mistake, and now you've learned why it's important to make sure you make things compound paths over there in Silhouette before you open them in Cricut Design Space. So let me show you the difference now. Let's go back over here into our software, and we're going to make these into compound paths. As we remember, we don't have to do the red because there's only one red. This color, when it selects everything, I'm just going to right click and say make it a compound path. This brown, select it, right click, make a compound path. Where are we? The yellow is just one piece. I don't need to make that a compound path. The pink, I will make that a compound path. The white, just going down the row, make compound path. The blue, right click, make it a compound path. And finally, I forgot to do the black. I'll make that a compound path as well. But you know what? I cannot make that a compound path because it is just one thing. See that? It won't allow me. Okay. So all these pieces are ready now. Okay. I could put them back together the way they should be, kind of. And then I'm going to send this over to Cricut Design Space, and you're going to see what a difference it makes when you remember to make things a compound path as they should be made. Okay, that looks good enough. So I'm just going to grab all of him and group him. And I'm also going to change him to that number again, 7.102 wide, so I can kill two birds with one stone. I'll show you two different things. Let's say I want him to be exactly that size because he's going to fit on a project that I have. So what I'll do is I'll go to File, Save Selection, Save to Hard Drive, and I'll just name him 7.102 Raleigh Puppy Dog Pals. And I'm going to save him as SVG because that is what I need for Cricut Design Space. So it's 7.102 Raleigh Puppy Dog. Okay, so let's come back over to Cricut and see what happens now. Instead of that one we imported, let's do another one. Upload, Browse, Raleigh. Oh, 7.102 Raleigh, right? 7.102 Raleigh. Here he is. Click on him, open. Looking good, same like the other one, save. Open him, insert. Now look how many files there are, or how many layers there are. Very few. But here's that secret with that number I gave you. Remember, if you put it first, it'll show up right here, the very first thing, 7.102. All you need to do is remember this. Click on him before you've ungrouped everything. Come up here to the width with the lock locked. Change this to 7.102 and hit enter. And that will make him the exact size that you need him to be here in Cricut Design Space. Now check this out. When I go to make it, all the little teeth stay exactly where I need them to be, as well as the parts of the eyes, and everything else stays exactly where it needs to be, so that when I use my transfer tape, I can put this together easily with vinyl. So let's check it out one more time. Here's this one. Okay, there's that one. Now let me upload that other one, or bring that other one in. Upload. Bring this first one in that we did. Insert. And look at all the pieces that make up him. So this guy right here, I'll hide him for a sec. Look at all the pieces that make him up, because I did not make all of these little pieces a compound path before I sent it over here. He looks terrific. But again, when I go to make him, here's his little teeth just like that. Not what we want for vinyl. I can go ahead and hide him and then bring the other one back to view. And again, if I go to make him, all his little teeth are going to stay exactly where we want them to be for vinyl. So I hope this makes sense, and I hope you're enjoying these 7 days of SVGs. Tomorrow, I hope you'll join me back here again. And if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the little bell. Also, don't forget to check out my links below. If you use them, I get a tiny commission, and it does help to keep things running here at PattyAnnesPlace. So again, thanks for joining me. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.